I just ask everyone if it's possible just to put the mic? Thank you so much. Can everyone hear me? Amazing. Great. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Really, really, I'm glad to see some familiar faces. Thank you so much for popping by. It's going to be a massive, great day today. It's such a great honor to be one of the many speakers. I'm just sharing transformative ideas about data analytics, right? And I would really wanted to thank the Big Data London team for putting this event because it's really good. For me, the past 18 months I've been indoors, right? But it's really good to see faces. So I'm really excited about this topic because as a data management practitioner, one of the frustrations that we have in organization and other business users as well within the organization is what is data management about? And that's not a really silly question, right? It is a question that you just want to understand what we do and how we do it and why we do it anyway. So hopefully by the end of this presentation, you can communicate, you can engage, and you can help people understand what data management is about. Okay. So I'm just going to ask everyone if you can, if you grab your smartphones, if you want to take the barcode. I've got just some questions. I would like to know where people are coming from in terms of sectors. So if you don't mind, thank you so much. Thank you very much. Yeah, if you're in multiple sectors, feel free to let me know as well. And just in case your sector is not mentioned there, use the order as well. Thank you. I'm just going to give you the next 30 seconds. So the reason I decided to do this is to help everyone in the room to connect with each other. Because when we talk about data management, sometimes we think about ourselves, right? But it's important to know everyone in the room, and I can see the biggest is professional services. No, right? Okay. Digital technology, great, right? But whatever, right? You can connect with other people in the room. So thank you so much. Okay. Sorry, just bear with me a minute. Let me go back to my slide. Oh, one second. Okay, fantastic. Sorry. Control P. Okay. Okay. Sorry, the tech guys is going to come help me on this. Thank you so much. I really appreciate. That's fine. Okay. Yeah, great. That's fine. He just said I've broken it, so I'm sorry, guys. These things happen, and it's good. It's technology, right? It's good. It's good. Whilst he's trying to do this, I'm just going to really give you a quick story. And this story I'm going to share with you is quite personal because it just helps me. The reason I'm doing this is because of this story, right? I remember one day I was engaging with a senior stakeholder, and we went out for a walking lunch. And as we were going, we went over to look at the planes flying. And he turned around and said, Abel, why do we need data management? Because really, we don't need data to fly planes, right? And for me, I was like, wow, that's someone from technology asking that sort of question, right? Someone that you would call your sister, right? You could imagine your brother or your sister asking you a question. Wow, okay. And I said, well, fair enough. I did answer the question, no doubt. But however, I realized that even people that are closest to us sometimes don't understand what data management is about. And we need to try as much as possible to explain that to them. And that's the reason why I'm doing this. So just a bit of introduction. My name is Abel Abo. I lead the data management, one of the disciplines in the Bank of England. The last 10 years, I've worked in different industries, sectors where I've delivered data management successfully. I went to University of Lincoln, and obviously went to Strathclyde Business School where I studied human resources. I'm not your traditional data guy or technology geek guy, but what I bring to the table is very important. And so when you think about data management, you're not thinking about the techie guys alone. You're thinking about other people as well. So just in form of setting the scene, the story I talked about the plane, it kind of got me really, wow, someone from technology don't understand data management. And besides, they believe that we shouldn't even exist at all. So I don't know your horror stories, but these things do happen. The next thing is about St. Paul Cathedral. Just last week, I was walking by and I took this photo. And the reason is, when I look at St. Paul Cathedral, it reminds me of what we're trying to build as data management professional. Something that can be solid, something that can be there for generation. And each time I think about St. Paul Cathedral, I remember the story about Sir Christopher Wren. As the story goes, one day he was walking by and he saw three men. He did ask them, what are you doing? And one of them said, well, I'm laying bricks. And the second one said, well, I am building a wall. And the third one said, well, I am building a cathedral. And this is just after the Great Fire in London, right? And for me, as a data management professional, I can relate with those answers, right? Sometimes, if someone asks us, what is data management? We'll all have different definition of what it is. And that's not where we need to, because when you ask someone from HR, what is HR? They will quickly tell you that. So the question is it that we're not communicating what data management is, or we don't even know? So I'm going to go over to the next story, which is Wally. And I want you to watch this video. And I want you to think about what this means for you as a data management professional, right? Because when you, in data trenches, as I call it, you'll be doing some of these things as well. So watch the video and I want you to reflect what this means for you, okay? And it's just about a minute. So I've got a mentee, but I'm not going to try and break this anyway, but feel free to use the code and just, if you can just tell me one thing from a data perspective, what you think, being in the trenches. So feel free to just put that. I'm going to share the result after this session, but I know most of you will want to see the result. Anyway, what is data? I would like to really start there because when I look at the data dictionary, Cambridge Dictionary said data is numbers, facts that can be used, right? They can be used to make decisions. Some people will say data is an information stored in a database, right? You've got all sorts of what data is. But is that true? I want to put it to you this afternoon that data is a thing. Data is just like you and I, right? Let's not overcomplicate it at all. Data have a life cycle, just like you and I, we do. We're birthed, and the day it comes, we're going to die, no doubt, right? Data lives in somewhere, just like you and I, we live in homes. Data lives in databases and systems, right? Data can be shared. We also can be shared and be used as well, right? So I want you to know that data is a thing. But the most important thing about data is about the context. So I was listening to Phil earlier, and he was talking about the business context. This is where we unlock the value of data. This is what we need to focus on. This is where we need to spend our energy. We shouldn't go in trying to spend too much time trying to define things, right? It's just a waste of time. The business, you can support the business, spending too much time trying to define or agree on what something is. No. This is how you support businesses, by understanding the business context. So in my experience, one of the things I quickly do is I try to understand the context. It could be a business process, it could be a problem, and that is where you get the value of the data. So I really want you to know this, right? Don't really get caught up about what data is or not. Understand the context, and once you do, that's where the gems are. So I'm going to quickly talk about how you can demystify data management, what that is all about. And when you think about this roof and the beam, that's just an organization, right? Every organization, public or private, has got a mission, got a vision, got a product or a services, right? Some of them got a goal, and some of them pretty much have objectives, right? And some of them do have strategic priorities as well. So when you think about an organization, I don't care if it's public, private, no, right? However, when you think about data management, these are the disciplines. So for those of you that are familiar with Dharma, you would definitely see the Dharma wheel, right? But one of the key things there is that you're going to see data science in there. Truly, data science is part of data management, okay? Data governance is in the middle, but that's not the focus today. Now, the question you need to ask yourself, how can this connect with the business? How can data management connect with the business? And this is what I want to put to you today. The first bit is know, right? I was listening to Phil earlier, and he was talking about understand. That's what we do. We're trying to enable the business to know their data. That's as simple as possible, right? But it took me a while for me to really get to that place where I can really say to someone, hey, I work in data management. What I'm trying to do for you today is to enable you to know your data. Because if you don't know your data, how will you be able to use it? How will you be able to trust it? How will you be able to unlock the value of the data? And that's what we do as data management practitioners. The next thing that we do is trust, right? And I was sitting as well, I was listening to Phil earlier, and I was like, wow, I'm in the right room, okay? And truly, yes, it is. Because what we do is that we enable business to trust their data. Because if they don't trust their data, right, they might not be able to use it. But more importantly, right, they will spend so much resources, energy, effort trying to trust their data. And as far as I'm concerned, we're not adding value to the organization. So we need to think about this. But more importantly, as humans, right, if you want to go into a relationship with someone, you want to go into a business, you want to marry someone, you want to date someone, the first thing that is important is for you to know the person, and then you trust the person. So why do we think that's different from data? No, it's not. It's the same process, right? we know, and we trust. But that's not the last bit. The next piece there is about use, right? Why this is very important, I tell you. You can know someone, you can trust the person, but if you're unable to engage with the person, to use that information, to use that data for better insight, better intelligence, make good decisions, best decisions, achieve your business outcome, then what's the point? So when I think about all this, the way to demystify what data management is to understand what you're doing within the discipline, but what actually, how you connect with the business, right? So if you can help the business to know their data, to trust their data, and to use their data, that is how you demystify what data management is. And for me, I call it the pillar of data management because that's the connecting block, right? And I really want you to consider that. So just in case you're looking for a working definition, I'm not really a fan of definition because I don't want to be in a room trying to define something that actually does not have any value. I would recommend you to look at Nicola's blog, right? She's a data governance coach, and she talks about the difference between data management and data governance. So that's the definition over there. But I'm not a fan, right? But one thing I want to leave you with today is, don't worry, you can do this a bit later, but you can take the code if you don't mind, right? Take the code, complete it, and I would like to see the result. And I'll share that with everyone in the room. The reason for this is that I want to understand which of those pillars you operate the most. Is it the knowing pillar, or the trust pillar, or the use pillar, right? Or you operate on the tree level as well. So think about that as well. When you go back to your organization, think about what you do. Is it more of the knowing, or more of the trusting, or more of the using? So for example, data quality helps you to trust the data, right? Business intelligence helps you to do what? Use the data, right? There are other part of data discipline that can actually help you to do other things as well. My final thought today is what I firstly call the 6C, right? The world has changed. As data management practitioner, we need to communicate better. We have to, right? If you want to get to the level of HR, marketing, engineering, we have to communicate what data management is about. But more importantly, we need to connect better. Not just connecting as data management practitioners, we have to collaborate better within the other functions of the business. Change. We're in the business of change management. So when you think about data management, we're in the business of change management. We lead change, we bring change to life. And the next one is coach. We should roll our sleeves and get dirty. So when you think about Wally, it's really in the heart of things, right? If you want to bring change, if you want to make a difference, you roll your sleeve and you get into the trenches. And finally, we should be creative. What that means is, Caroline said something. I was part of the CDO summer school just about a couple of months ago. And she said one of our limitations as data professional is our imagination. We need to think broadly. Sometimes we all get too siloed in our thinking, and that's not useful. So if you want to bring impact to business, if you want to support the business, you've got to think creatively, right? The next thing I want to also bring is simplification. Data management at a level is a bit complex. We need to try and simplify it. We have to. We can't leave it at the complex level. We need to bring it and simplify it. The next thing I want to say is around focus on business value. What is the business value? What are the actions out of all this, right? Because that's what really matters, okay? And data management is a team sport, right? You can't deliver data management by yourself. So there's an African proverb that says, if you want to go far, you go with others. Data management is a team sport. You can't just have champions all over the place. They need to come together to work as a team to deliver data management. Finally, data management is people-centered. So I told you my background is in HR. Great, right? But I have value. I bring value to the table. Data management is a people-centered profession. It's not a data-centered profession. However, you can use technology as an enabler, right? Technology is not the solution. We've just experienced it. The technology got broken. If I didn't have the guy next to me, I'm going to be stuck, right? That's what we need to think about. It's people-centered and not data-centered. So I really want to say thank you so much for listening. I've got how many minutes I've got? Few, but I can take some questions. Whilst I'm trying to do that, these are my recommendations. These are my recommendations. They said I've got 10 minutes, as I've been talking really quick. These are my recommendations of books, right? And I really want to bring this out there for you as well, because while they're bringing the mic for if there's any question. However, these are the people. I just want you to check them on LinkedIn, check them on social media platform. These are data leaders. These are psychologists. These are people that can bring value to you, right? So when you, as a data professional, you don't just connect with data people alone. You need to connect with other people in the business, okay? So these are some of the people, just to mention but a few, right? Take the time, make this connection, get them to know you, and you can learn a lot from these people. So I'm just going to pause there. You've got a question? Question? Over here?
Thanks for the
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me okay? You might need the headphones.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we had this earlier.
Yeah, cheers.
I wondered if there was news you could share of how you've used data management to improve processes or add value to the Bank of England, but something you've done in your work which you could share.
Cheers, thank you. Anyway, the mic just fell up. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, great. He did ask the question if I can share an example, possibly using the Bank of England. The way I describe the Bank of England is the Bank of England is older than America. So you need to understand the complexity of the institution, right? And we consume loads of data, right? But I think going back to the point about knowing and trust and use is the key. So when you go into, let's say, a different part of the business, right? And they say, well, you want to come and help me. What is it that you want to help me with? I've just realized that it's easy to tell them, we're here to help you to trust your data because there's an incident that's occurred, right? And as part of the root cause of that issue, okay, you don't trust your data, okay? So there are different things that happen in organizations, right? And the next example I'm going to give you is we look at the incident that occurred in the organization and we look at them and say, well, you have solved this problem, you have built in some mitigation, but actually the problem is not the data but the process, and not just the process but the people. So what can we give into that? How can we solve that problem? What is it that we want to help you with? It could be, right, we want you to know your data, right? As data management professional, we can coach them on how they can know their data very well. And that's about we bringing value to those things. So without going into detail, right, I want you to know that when you pillars, that's what we do. We don't do anything else. We try to help people to know their data. We try to help them to trust their data. And we try to help them to use their data. And that's it. So how come we're not explaining this to the business then? Right? Why is it that we try to spend so much time not sure about what we're saying? And that's the problem with data management practitioners, right? We're not clear about our messaging. And as a result, the business cannot support us as well. So I just want you to think about that as a takeaway as well, right? Any other question? Well, I just want you to know that you feel free to connect with me. Oh, you got. Fantastic.
Sorry,
Okay.
I was just going to ask. Obviously, the Bank of England receives lots and lots
Sorry,
of data.
can you just, yeah?
Can you hear me? Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was going to say, so with the Bank of England receiving so many different data sets from so many different organisations, do you find there's an added challenge because of that, as opposed to just, when you obviously previously worked in other organisations where it was your own data? Is there an added complexity that you need to deal with as that regulatory body?
Okay. That's a great question. Yes, we do. And there's another challenge to that because you're collecting data to what purpose, right? Because those data, in terms of just collecting, is an overhead to those organizations as well. I think the last time I checked, that was about $10 billion or $5 billion, right? So, but the question is, what do we do with the data? How can we demonstrate that the quality of the data, or we trust the data, or we know the data, and we can use it for the intended purpose, right? So that just came out, just looking at the COVID, right? And now we're looking at, okay, how did the bank support the economy, right? How did the bank support the economy? Because we need to show that to people, right? And in doing that, we collect data, we analyze it, right? And in collecting, we know the data, we trust the data, and we use it to publish our reports, right? So those are practical things that we do. But I don't want to really, for the most important thing we need to understand, keep it simple. It's about know, it's about trust, and it's about use. Nothing else, right? Keep it simple, and that's how you demystify data management. Thank you so much for listening. It's really good to have everyone. Thank you so much. And if you want any questions, anything, feel free to catch me outside, and I'm more than okay to have a chat. So thank you.
Also,